What texting is, despite the fact that it involves the brute mechanics of something that we call writing, is fingered speech. That's what texting is. Now we can write the way we talk. And it's a very interesting thing, but nevertheless, easy to think that still it represents some sort of decline. We see this general bagginess of the structure, the lack of concern with rules in the way that we're used to learning on the blackboard. And so we think that something has gone wrong. It's a very natural sense. But the fact of the matter is that what is going on is a kind of emergent complexity. That's what we're seeing in this fingered speech. And in order to understand it, what we want to see is the way in this new kind of language there is new structure coming up. And so, for example, there is in texting a convention which is LOL. Now, LOL we generally think of as meaning laughing out loud. And of course, theoretically, it does. And if you look at older texts, then people used it to actually indicate laughing out loud. But if you text now, or if you are someone who's aware of the substrate of texting the way it's become, you'll notice that LOL does not mean laughing out loud anymore. It's evolved into something that is much subtler. This is an actual text that was done by a non-male person of about 20 years old not too long ago. I love the font you're using, BTW. Julie, lol, thanks, Gmail is being slow right now. Now, if you think about it, that's not funny. No one's laughing. And yet there it is. So you assume there's been some kind of hiccup. Then Susan says, lol, I know. Again, more guffawing than we're used to when you're talking about these inconveniences. So Julie says, I just sent you an email. Susan, lol, I see it. Very funny people if that's what LOL means. This Julie says, so what's up? Susan, lol, I have to write a 10-page paper. She's not amused. Let's think about it. Lol is being used in a very particular way. It's a marker of empathy. It's a marker of accommodation. We linguists call things like that pragmatic particles. Any spoken language that's used by real people has them. If you happen to speak Japanese, think about that little word ne that you use at the end of a lot of sentences. If you listen to the way black youth today speak, think about the use of the word yo. Whole dissertations could be written about it, and probably are being written about it. A pragmatic particle, that's what lol has gradually become. It's a way of using the language between actual people. Another example is slash. Now, we can use slash in the way that we're used to, along the lines of we're going to have a party slash networking session. That's kind of like what we're at. Slash is used in a very different way in texting among young people today. It's used to change the scene. So, for example, this Sally person says, so, I need to find people to chill with. And Jake says, ha ha. You could write a dissertation about ha-ha too, but we don't have time for that. Ha-ha, so you're going by yourself. Why? Sally, for this summer program at NYU. Jake, ha-ha, slash, I'm watching this video with Suns players trying to shoot with one eye. The slash is interesting. I don't really even know what Jake is talking about after that, but you notice that he's changing the topic. Now that seems kind of mundane, but think about how in real life, if we're having a conversation and we want to change the topic, there are ways of doing it gracefully. You don't just zip right into it. You'll pat your thighs and look wistfully off into the distance. Or you'll say something like, makes you think, when it really didn't. But what you're really what you're really trying to do is change the topic. You can't do that while you're texting, and so ways are developing of doing it within this medium. All spoken languages have what a linguist calls a new information marker, or 2 or 3. Texting has developed one from this slash. And so, the way I'm thinking of texting these days is that what we're seeing is a whole new way of writing that young people are developing, which they're using alongside their ordinary writing skills. And that means that they're able to do two things. Increasing evidence is that being bilingual is cognitively beneficial. That's also true of being bidialectal. That's certainly true of being bidialectal in terms of your writing. And so texting actually is evidence of a balancing act that young people are using today. Not consciously, of course, but it's an expansion of their linguistic repertoire.